I think if you're great at people and you have ambition, you have the two magic cards to succeed in business.
You had some 22, 23 jobs before you started your own business.
Yes, I did.
Jobs from everything from being a receptionist to a waitress to everything in between. We often look back at those jobs that didn't pay us a lot and that the world doesn't hold in high regard, as some people might think that they are a waste of time or they were like necessary.
Oh.
What's your view on when you were a receptionist and a waitress? What role did that play in your overall success?
I think whether you have a menial job or an important job, it's what you're learning. I mean, there wasn't a job where I didn't learn a lot. For me, I would take any job, not based on pay, but gee, what could I learn? What could I learn? Because that made you more valuable. I never really thought it made you more valuable to be paid more. But hey, I haven't done this before. Let's see what this is about. And you learn skills. I think I learned more through my waitressing jobs, because I always had a few at once. You know, you could always get a waitress job behind a counter. I think I learned more about people waitressing than building my business in every one of those jobs. And you know what's great about having a lot of jobs? You start to get a profile of what you're good at and what you're not. And I, in short order, after maybe 7 or 8 jobs, not that I knew what I was going to do for a living, but I knew what I was good at. I knew I was good at getting along with people and making them smile. I could talk to somebody and make them happy, absolutely. And I also knew that I was efficient. I could create a system in anything. I would see the diner counter all wrong, not running right. I would talk to the boss, say, you know, if you did this with the maple syrup and change the sugar, and I could, like an executive, I could rearrange the whole counters, you know, in an efficient manner. And I started learning that those were my 2 gifts, people and efficiency. And if you think about any business, those are really big ticket items. If you could choose people, motivate people, get along with people, make them get along with each other, plus create systems to grow a big business. I mean, the minute you have more than a half dozen people, you need systems. And my companies were always so well organized that they just ran like a Swiss clock. Is that a good analogy? Everything was in its place. Nothing had to be duplicated. It was fast forward. And so I was able to build very quickly, which I had to do because we had big people in my market. And if I had built and replicated systems at a normal pace, I would never catch up to them. So I had to do double, triple time. And what's your answer on that one? Systems get you moving forward, get a business like a machine, you know? And that was a gift I got from my menial jobs.
There's so many residential firms in New York. There's so many like real estate people. They're everywhere. I mean, every person I meet is in real estate in New York.
Right.
So how do you become the best?
Honestly, I think there's a lot of reasons how you succeed, right? But I think the major cards were I was competing with the old boys network and they were asleep at the wheel. It's not that they didn't do good work, but you have to realize real estate brokerage in New York when I was started, and I guess is somewhat the same, was controlled by rich guys who inherited the business from their father or their grandfather before them. So they were very important, very self-important, very well educated, very good at what they did, but they did the same old thing. They did it the same old way. And they also hired people like themselves. They were white, privileged, and they hired white, privileged women to work for them. That was a whole cast of characters. When I came in, I couldn't get those white, privileged women to work for me because I was a kid, I didn't know anything, and it was no status associated with it. We were a new kid in town. We had 3 people. Who was going to work for me? I had to beg, borrow, and steal to get anybody to work for me. And so they were cocky. And the minute I smelled that they were cocky, which happened to me about the 3rd year in business when I went to a large real estate board of New York meeting, I remember I went home and I said, I'm going to beat these guys. And I knew it because they were very cocky that they were in charge. So I think a big reason why I was able to succeed is because I competed against the norm of an old boy network. If I had to compete with other people like me wanting to prove something, desperate to make a go of it, I would have had that hunger to compete with. These guys weren't hungry. They were well-fed and well-vacationed, and they liked it that way. The most successful are not good at numbers. They're exceptional at people. I think if you're great at people and you have ambition, you have the 2 magic cards to succeed in business. You do. That's what it's about. People and ambition, the drive to get to the finish line.
Leadership isn't about being, and this kind of sounds like it's wrong, but let me explain. Leadership isn't about being consistent with your people. Some people in your team will require a certain type of treatment to get the best out of them. And then some people in your team will require probably the opposite treatment to get the best out of them. Can you relate to that? Does that strike?
So can I tell you, it's a misnomer that you treat anyone like someone else. No, I was biased with every single person who worked with me. I would do different things for different people based on their own need. I would just really size them up. What's going to push this kid ahead? What's going to make this person have confidence? What could I do to... And I had a different formula for everyone. No, I think the key was knowing each individual and what floats their boat. The problem with investing in a business owned by a rich kid is usually raise money already rather easily. It's not sweat equity. So you got a chunk of change to get started. Okay, that's nice. Now you would think that would make things easier. I think it makes things difficult. You don't spend your money wisely. It's Papa's money or your parents' friends' money or wherever you got it from. So it's not valuable money. And I've seen more people stand and say, well, we pivoted. We lost that. We pivoted. What happened to the guys that gave you the cash? What happened to them? No regard at all. Okay? When you get a poor kid, they typically have something to prove. They really have to stretch every penny. It's their own money. They're dying just to get a little bit more. There's so much a greater need. And there's also a desire to do well in living in their life. They want to go on vacations. They too want to get a sports car. They want to get a nice apartment. These rich kids have had it all before. They've been on vacation everywhere. They've always had rich cars, rich parents. So I think it's so much harder for a rich kid to succeed as an entrepreneur.
Okay, well, you're on Shark Tank, and linked to what we just said about quickly assessing if a person is legit and worth investing in, what have you learned? What advice would you give me to be successful from your experience?
I would say keep your money in your pocket for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, my first few seasons of Shark Tank, I spent so much money, threw money at the wall and anything that moved, yeah. So I hope you haven't made that mistake.
I only did like 11 investments in my first season, so...
But for me, what I have learned in 14 years, and I've learned it good 10 years ago, I'd say, is never choose a business, always choose the entrepreneur. I have sat there and listened to business plans that I don't even know what they're talking about. It makes no sense to me what they're talking about because it's not a business I know or I don't understand the terminology. And in the old days, I would have thought I was too stupid, but now I know I'm smart enough that if I'm not understanding it's okay, I'm probably still smart. But I have to be really smart in making the choice of the individual. Do I trust this person? Can I visualize them going through a wall? What's their background? Are they good at getting back up? Do they have ambition? Not passion. Passion's so overrated. I feel passionate. We really wanted to do this. Like saying you're excited about your first date. Who cares? Wait till you marry the lady and see how you feel. But I think the commitment and the drive and the ambition is what I'm always looking for.
What did you learn from your greatest failure?
I learned that you get back up and all the opportunities and getting back up. Just got to be a habit of getting up. You get up and you're going to find some shit that you could do something with. Just get up. That's a habit. You have to make that habit.
Barbara, thank you.